Hey, you! You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed because you're an untouchable success. To support us and gain access to great exclusive shows like our brand new Supernatural watch-along Himboos, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You'll also get your lucky little mitts on hundreds of episodes of our other exclusive shows like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, and the complete series of Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We do movie nights, game streaming, regular mini-series and surprise shows, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want, within reason. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain by heading to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed. Probably don't need help with that word.
I ate bad bread.
Did you?
Yeah, you know when it's okay, these slices are moldy, but these ones lower, they seem fine.
Mm-hmm.
So
were they in the same bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can't, you're supposed to throw it all away at that point.
Yeah.
Because, the mold's been breathing the same air as the unmoldy bread, so it's all mold.
Well, I threw it away in my stomach.
That's true. Yeah, it is a garbage pit. That's what it's for. It's just a bowl of acid. That's what our stomachs are.
It could take anything.
Seriously, we should be able to just eat whatever.
Yeah.
We shouldn't need garbage dumps. We should be able to eat our garbage.
Yeah, we should be like goats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, listen. My name is David Bell.
My name's Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Flatland.
The movie.
Yep. Otherwise known as Ohio. Ohio.
I am not willing to gamble away our very survival on your hopes. You've already put the future of the Republic at stake. At any moment, the North might attack, and it's your fault.
Oh, stop. Ooh, that's harsh. Oh, goodness.
Otherwise known as not that one. No, not that one either.
Yes. Before we get into it, so first of all, big thank you to our Patreon producer, Burrito.
Let's just say thank you. Not big thank you.
All right.
A normal size thank you.
Burrito has been doing, if you guys remember, our Shapes saga. Triangle, Cube, etc. All the Shape movies.
Mm-hmm. Some really good ones in there, like Triangle.
Yes. I want to share a maddening detail is that Burrito thought they were giving us the short film. I learned. And they're like, sorry about that.
The file name makes more sense.
Yes, because that's a wild version that I do want to watch. This version is on YouTube now. Mm-hmm. By the way. So, for context, I guess, this is a film from 2007. I will call it an animated film.
Yes.
It is based off of a novella from 1884. This has been remade, or there's been versions of it.
Abbott. It's called Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions.
There's been 5 versions of this, most of them short, because... That's what you do.
It's a novella. And also it's I had never heard of this before we tackled this movie for this episode. So I'd never heard of this novella before, but it's a very short book. It's a very nerdy, heady, cutesy concept. It really is not meant to sustain a full length film like this.
Really mind-blowing in the 1800s. It's basically The Matrix, but Shapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about perspective. It's about the limits of perspective and how you don't know what you don't know, and that crippling. It's a very easy satire on theology and society, and it's just we're all convinced that our way is the only way and the right way, and we are at the apex. We are the zenith of it. It's just because we are unable to see the next dimension that's right next to us. We're unable to pull that last little bit further out.
It's one of those where the moment I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, I know the metaphor. Yeah. Got it. It could be
probably mind-blowing in the 1880s, like you said.
Right. maybe it was about religion at the time.
I believe so, because this guy was a theologist as well as a mathematician. So it's basically he told a story using math, which is really cool. It's a really cool idea. It's a really cool way to explain a very heady philosophical concept.
Yeah, the short, we can go through the plot, but like the short version of the plot is it's a 2D world of shapes, and the shapes,
it's basically your map screen, the world.
Yeah, and the shapes think they're superior. They have this very like confusing like lore and bureaucracy around it and othering of like shapes have to be this way, and if a shape is multicolored, well, that's freakish and
intentionally confusing, not confusing to us. It's just like
exactly.
It's presented as like this impenetrable web of whatever, but it's clear to us that the triangles are this, circles are this, squares are this.
Tangled weird bureaucracy.
Yeah.
The main shape is in this case, a attorney that sounds like Owen Wilson.
Yep.
And he has a dream about a 1D world where he like talks down to the 1D world where they're just lines,
just
and he's
points,
like, "You guys
not
are
even
so
lines.
silly." Right, and he's like, "Your world is so silly," and they have a elaborate bureaucracy, and then he is visited by a 2D object, sure enough, and it's all about him leaving the 2D world, and going into the 3D world with this orb, and then learning that the orb world has the same perception where they're like, we're the final dimension. There's nothing beyond us, and it kind of opens his mind to like, well, what more is there, you know? Again, it's very Matrix, because it's like Neo gets pulled from the Matrix and sees just more bureaucracy, another world of like, we're doing it this way, where it's just more control upon control. And that's more or less the story, which is this particular movie, which is well reviewed. I think it's a labor of love, an indie labor of love.
It is, yeah.
I think I know where you're going with this, because it's the same place I'm going with this. I didn't like this movie.
No. I thought this movie's very obvious, and it's made by a creep. It's made by an avowed fucking creep.
Oh, really? Like, for sure?
Yeah, he's a racist. He is responsible for, quote, the most racist political ad in history.
Whoa! Do tell.
Okay, so the filmmaker is Lad Erlinger Jr. If you look up the Flatland on Wikipedia or Lad Ellinger Jr. on Wikipedia, both are obviously written by Lad Ellinger Jr. But basically, he produced he makes a lot of these weird, bonkers videos about political people he doesn't like. And he did one targeting Janice Hahn, who was a congressional candidate in Los Angeles. And he did basically this ad that was, okay. So basically, it was just a bunch of black rappers saying, "Give us your cash, bitch," at an obviously stoned stripper. And it was supposed to be her idea of using convicted felons as gang intervention specialists to help, with rehabilitation and things like that. So he took that as we are paying thugs and gangsters money for being thugs and gangsters, and he made it very explicitly racist.
I'm reading the PolitiFact where it starts with, "It has been called one of the most offensive political videos ever."
See, it's
completely false, obviously.
I barely felt comfortable describing it, as you can hear.
The web page that's now broken, that where it says the that you can go to for the video, is hanshomeboys with a z.org.
Yeah.
So wait, the accusation is that they hired gang members with taxpayer money
Yeah.
And then he made he also made a Nancy Pelosi Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh yeah, he's
video.
Lots of Democratic people, Barney Frank. But I mean, the point is, it was a taxpayer-funded program that was meant to use sort of like a scared straight type of idea, as I'm understanding it, where you use people with criminal records to use their experience to help with rehabilitation in some way. I've not read in depth about it,
right?
But sort of like that. It's very similar to fucking what's his nuts dressing up as a pimp and going to Acorn asking for housing assistance.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't remember that asshole's name.
It's Project Veritas guy.
Veritas, yeah.
Yeah, I forget his. I know his
James
name,
O'Keefe.
but James O'Keefe. Yeah.
James O'Keefe.
Yeah, I'm reading about this. Like the politician that he was supporting had to disavow.
Yes.
The ad. it like. Yeah, this was like around 2011-ish. This is, this is long ago, but it's clear that this guy.
If you follow his X/Twitter/social media presence, he's very, and which I'm sure we're going to get into as we get to talking about this film. He's very much a shithead raised by South Park.
Yeah.
In that everything is stupid, it's stupid to care. I'm the only smart one because I recognize that everything is stupid. But as the 2010s wore into the 2020s, he just became flatly racist.
This actually fascinates me because I thought this was bad, and I got that vibe. I didn't get right-winger off of it. In fact, at one point I was like, wait, is this a trans allegory? Like, is this about like the Matrix, where it's like you can interpret it as that? There is one thing. So one thing that flagged me is so apparently in the original Flatland, the book, women are lines, right? Like it's in here, and they're shrill and whatever. And I haven't read that book, and I'm not like, again, 1800s, but I guess the author had said that he seemed pretty well woke about it. Again, for 1800s.
For 1880.
Like, what I read is he said, like, there were accusations of misogyny, and he said, no, it's like a satire. I was trying to point this other thing out about women.
Right. They're so they're so terrified. I got it in a satirical way.
Me too.
So it sort of irritated me when the movie stopped with a title card that said the same thing.
Right, and we'll talk about the fucking title cards. But
yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of my dislike of this movie. But
there's so many rules around, like the women have to make their safety noises. Their voices are very high pitched and shrill. So it's all of this stereotypical stuff, of course. But it also boils down to the men are such idiots. They just have this hot potato rule about women. Just stay away from them because we have no idea what to do with them. So.
Yeah, that's still very much in here. I was expecting.
It's like a Mike Pence thing, where it's like, I don't have dinner with any woman who's not my wife. It's like, okay, you fucking maniac. Like it felt very like it felt like a satire of that sort of Victorian, very prudish attitude about women. Sorry,
I guess I thought what was going to happen that didn't happen, and maybe this is like asking too much of the story. Again, 1800s, and this is a little eye rolly too, don't get me wrong, but I thought the moment he entered the 3D world, you'd see that the women aren't lines. They're actually have more dimension that you can't see. And I was like, oh, that'd be a fun metaphor, but they don't really do that, and it's just more of like what you said is the attitude throughout, where they're like shrill and weird, but they just sort of they fear them. They just fear them.
They completely handle them with fear.
Right, which makes sense when you're making an allegory about religion.
It's girls have cooties. It's the end point. The joke is the same. It's the men are being stupid idiots about it.
I want to note about the
cruel in their stupidity.
Right. I also want to note that, let's see. Oh, I don't know if this was 2007. The short is 2007.
They're both credited as 2007.
Okay, and I wonder, one's made by different people.
Yes, the short is made by actual animators with a star-studded voice cast, including Martin Sheen.
Kristen Bell, Joe Estevez, Tony Hale. That surprised the shit out of me. Where it's like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I want to see that.
Logan from Logan's Run, Michael York.
Michael York,
in it.
yeah.
And so, like, I guess if we're talking about like the broad strokes in terms of what the original story could be, because I do think this story is neat.
Yeah, it's real basic. Like, as I'm reading like a summary of the story, and it doesn't have all of like the flavor or the flavor, like the bells and whistles of this. It's just the very basic story of this sphere lifts this square up out of Flatland to show him the 3 dimensions, and it's like, there's no like company or all this other crap.
This, I was like, I had 2 versions of this film where I was like, okay, I guess maybe an Adult Swim series, I could handle it in 15-minute bursts while high. Or I'm actually wondering, do you think Pixar could adapt the story? Because I was thinking like, this might be good for dumb kids. And what I mean is it's a very basic metaphor. And it's like, you could probably nail down like a 90-minute Pixar movie.
And doing it like I won't take everything away from this guy, even though he's a creep.
I probably will, but yeah.
What he's trying to do here is the most interesting thing you can do, I think. Because like you said, the metaphor is very basic. And if you did it sort of like as a Pixar movie with everything fully animated as a 3-dimensional character, it would lose pretty much all of it. So I think you'd have to sort of try and do it the way he's tried to do it, where each stage is animated like that. Like 2D is completely flat in 2D, and then 3D is 3D, and then the one dimension is even more like, but like without
I think Pixar would do like a 2D
probably
world and then a 3D. Like it would just look nicer.
Yeah, it would look more polished. But which I don't mind, but at the same time I also wouldn't want it to look too polished. Like I sort of liked that at first, before we got used to Flatland, it was impenetrable for a second.
Yes.
Like it was like, Jesus, what the fuck am I even looking at? And then after a little bit you sort of, oh, okay, that's their face, and then you start to see our surroundings, like, oh, I'm like looking at my map on like a map screen. Okay, I see.
Right.
Like it's like it starts to click what you're looking at, because the whole thing is about perspective and about how your perspective locks you into a certain way of looking at things.
Yeah, like Futurama did an episode where they're in a 2D world that I'm sure they took inspiration from the original Flatland, where it's like the thing that you'd want Pixar to do is like, all right, you're making 2D animation. You have to actually fight the urge of most 2D animation to create depth, to create shadows, to have like fun characters like wiggling around. It's like, no, it will have to be like, this is a circle, this is a square, this is a triangle. And like, you can still do interesting things with that animation, but they very much would have to say like, yeah, it's got to be very simple to some extent. Like it's like when you look at any frame of this movie, like you said, you're like, what am I looking at? That looks like a schematic drawn by a child,
It would have to, it has to feel limiting, so that it's sort of like when you step from black and white into color in Wizard of Oz, it has to feel limiting, so that when you get to 3-dimension, you're like, oh, fuck. Okay. And so it also makes it neat when, it makes a cool build up when the sphere comes in and we don't quite understand what we're seeing of him as he rises up and down and rotates within the 2D plane. That was really cool. And you don't quite click what you don't quite register what it is you're looking at right away. It just sort of looks like this weird abstraction of a circle. But then as he describes what he's doing, it's like, I'm going higher now, I'm going lower. You're like, oh, fuck, okay.
The circle's getting bigger and low. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we see more of like his insides or something, Yeah. And then when he rotates, that was a cool effect.
It's the right, again, not knowing the original story, it's the right process where he has a dream about, what is it called?
Like Pointland or Lineland or
Line World. And in that,
World,
he's like talking down to them like, you guys are so silly. And the process of like, these people like looking down at this, and then a bigger thing coming and being like, you guys are actually silly, and having the same process from his perspective of like, this feels like magic, taking him out of it, and then the end result being the 3D people, like this guy who had his mind open up when he enters the 3D world, he's actually more open than they are.
Yeah.
Because he's had his mind blown. They haven't. So now he's like, well, what if there's a fourth dimension? And they're like, that's silly.
Well, he doesn't even ask what if. He just asks,
Right.
what's the fourth dimension? Is the way the sphere is telling it to him. He's like, okay, so how do sides work? 2, 4. Okay, so what's the next? 6? Right. 8? Right. So it keeps increasing. So he's like, okay, so what's the fourth dimension? Like, how do we get to surely you guys, how do we get there? Where is it? Let's go. Like, he just assumes it exists because from his perspective, why wouldn't it?
Right. And that's the right journey for a character.
Yes.
Like, it's another movie, spoilers, The 13th Floor.
Yeah.
It's that idea of like someone being told, someone being told your world, like it's the realization that like being wrong and realizing you're wrong gives you more wisdom
It's freedom.
than always being right. Yeah. It's freedom. Because like some of the most wrong people, and I don't mean like wrong in general, but some of the most like people who have bursts of being very wrong about something are very intelligent people. Because when you're very intelligent, at a certain point, you stop humbling yourself, or you stop
questioning
being
yourself.
Curious. Yeah. And so it's sort of like
you stop questioning what you know. Like you're holding on to certain things as truths that are fully defined and can't be. Yeah.
Right, like a person that comes to mind who hasn't been smart in a while, and I hate to bring him up because he's clearly going through some shit right now, but Scott Adams. I used to read his books as a kid, and his like Dilbert Future books, like he wrote novels, were very curious and was exploring all these ideas and was very like, oh, here's a cool scientific theory. And somewhere along the way, he decided he knows everything. And then that's the version of him we got more recently.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is a man who sort of grew rich and confident and then like very boldly walked in the wrong direction and cannot be brought back from that wrong direction. You know what I mean? Where you're like...
It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. Smart people, I would argue. Or curious, or like... it's hard because smart is such a relative word, but like... You know, people who are once...
People who used to
curious.
seem, more open to new ideas.
Which is a youth thing they explore in this, where the kids are more open to, what is it, chromatism? Is there like...
Because they're
othering?
Well, why don't we just change color so people will know what we are, since you can only see a line. So even if we're a square or a circle or a triangle, it's like really hard to tell. And it's just because they have these indecipherable rules, societal rules about it. Right.
And it's sort of about this, our main character who's what, a square? His name is A Square. And I was like, is there like a B through Z square? It doesn't matter.
His brother is B Square.
Right. And so it's like, what happens when they when they get to Z? Do they go to numbers? How big is the population? It doesn't matter.
These are their alphabets.
But him as like an attorney, so he believes in the rule of law, is a good starting place for a character because it's him sort of navigating within like more radical ideas suddenly, where it's realizing the rule of law isn't necessarily good or correct, which is a good instinct. And I again, I don't know if that's the book or the movie.
I'm not sure either. It seemed more like, because he never really questions the systems so much.
Right.
It's more like I mean, like the movie never like interrogates the systems, I guess. Like
No,
it
but
just sort of like poses like, well, see, they're wrong because they don't know that this is right. What it seems like the reason he's made the character a lawyer in this is because he uses like empirical arguments to sort of like prove the existence of another dimension.
Yes. Yeah. I just think like kind of how Neo starts in an office is like a pawn, where it's like, it's a good starting place for a character who's going to have his mind blown, is like, he has a family. He's like your average guy in this world.
Right.
Who kind of works for the system that's clearly broken, because there's also a king and a war and like all this politics that was just exhausting.
And a lot
I
of
want to note again, this
drawn
movie
out
sucks.
humor.
Yeah. So all right. So I noticed when they're not in the 3D world, which is a lot of the movie, most of the movie, there is a caption system that comes on screen.
Mm-hmm. Just like a silent film title cards.
And it is the most irritating shit I've seen in a while, because this movie is a little confusing at first, but not nearly as confusing as those cards. The cards thought they were so clever and meta, where like someone would say like, like, hey, we're going down to this place, and the card would go, did you hear what they said? Remember that, and then go away, and you're like, fucking, what are you doing? Child?
Yeah, like he says, like the beginning, the king's like, "Did you have everything ready for my speech? Did you hear that? It was the king mentioned an important plot point. If you weren't paying attention, you should be paying attention. All right, it's the speech. It's like, remember the speech? Okay."
Right, and it's like, I know how movies work.
I know how movies work. Yeah,
right. Like I understand
Jesus
if it comes in and
Christ, man.
Right, I understand where it would come in and say like, like, okay, so here's how this world works. It's a little confusing. Okay, let's get out of here. But it was like explaining plots. It was like, pay attention to the next part. It was like the typical like watching The Sopranos with a boyfriend stereotype.
Right. It would do.
Like, did you hear that?
It was
you get
everything.
That?
Yeah. It was doing like every possible function of screen text. It was being jokey. It was
right.
But it was being jokey in all the ways. Like it was being meta, but it was also being like part of the story, and it was yada-yadaing over plot, but also like, I mean, it was such a weird like. It screamed of a person making this entire thing by themselves.
Yes, and and they thought this was like, it should have been narration for one. There should have been a narrator if they were going to do that. Because weirdly enough, ironically, it made it more confusing to watch, because a scene would be going and I'd be figuring it out, and then a text would come up and it would go like, the text was always too fast. They didn't give you enough time necessarily to read it. It was like a little too, like you'd usually be able to read it, but if the text was too long or something, and it would come up and say
he never adjusted it regardless of how much text was on screen. It was like the same beat if there were 2 words or 6 words. And
you're looking at this array of shit, and then a text would come on and go like, now pay attention, and come up, and then I'd be like, wait, pay attention to what? Wait, what did they say? Wait, was he talking about before this or like now? And then it would like muddle things where I'm like, just let me watch. Just let me watch the fucking scene.
Yeah, it ain't that mind-blowing, man.
It's also not, this is weird to say, it's not well shot.
No.
So
no, it is God, it's an absolute slog to watch. It's torment to watch. It's like watching somebody else play a video game, in that
yes,
the camera is frustratingly wrong about where the focus is half the time, and you're like, you're wanting them to like fucking just turn a little bit.
I think that's why he did the text, because I bet he showed it to people who went, I don't understand what's happening. And he's like, well, they're stupid. I'll put on text. It's like, no, you did it wrong. So like one of the examples is, so at the beginning, there's this king waging war and stuff. And the king has a son, and someone comes in and goes like, your son, you have to come about your son. And they do this like quick snap zooms of the king, like zipping from room to room. And then he gets into the room with his son, and they do an ultra wide where there's this giant flaming ball.
The incinerator, yeah.
And well, that's what it was at the time. I'm like, wait, so that's his son? Because it's framed as this is the important thing in this scene. And I was like, is his son the literal son? And if you look in the shot, and they explain later, it's this little ball in front of the incinerator that's his dead son. And I was like, you did all this lead up. you land on the dead son. Like he walks into the room. It's like it was like he didn't understand basic filmmaking, right?
He doesn't.
It's like a person going like, where's my son? Opening a room. The next thing you should see is the dead son, not a wide where the dead son is really microscopic on the screen.
Or a bunch of black rappers throwing cash at a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we should have seen.
Or that.
Or that.
Yeah.
Or Nancy Pelosi as the Wicked Witch of the West.
Exactly.
Which,
I mean,
spot on.
I bet they can't be great.
I mean, she is a bit of a wicked witch. Am I right? Yeah, he kind of nailed that one. Yeah. She's old. She's old. Nailed it. She's old and she's a lady, so, wicked witch.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, she's a line. She's a shrill line.
She's a shrill line. She's a broom.
Yeah. It's badly made, and it dares you to. The text actually made me psychologically rebel against the film immediately because it was so insulting that it was like, well, fuck you, movie. Like
it didn't right away, but like when there was like no kidding, like 6 or 7 for that first little plot point bit about the speech, it was like, okay, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
Like, what is this? Like, is that a joke? Because like, what's the joke here? Like, the movie is about one thing, and then you have these narrating title cards that are harassing me to pay attention. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the movie? Like, if you're gonna do that, like, it would make sense if the movie was about like a character who couldn't pay attention, and then we have this title card narrator that's harassing us to pay attention, or if like. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was it was like 2 different ideas. What are you doing?
It weirdly goes away in the 3D world. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so does that symbolize something? Because it's not a product of the 2D world.
No, I think it's exactly what you said. He got less questions on the 3D part of the movie.
Yeah, I know why. Because the orb is going around going, this is our blank. This is how we function.
And everything has a sign on it.
Exactly.
Because you can now see text in the 3D world.
Exactly. So it was like he didn't know how to properly make the 2D world interesting and explain these things. And often it was me going, yeah, I got it.
I fucking get it.
Yeah.
This is a 150-year-old novella.
Yeah.
I fucking got it. You're not blowing my mind here, dude.
Yeah. So the chromatist stuff.
Yeah.
The obvious thing is like race. But that's why I was like, is this a trans allegory? Because it seemed at first that we wanted to be on the chromatist side. The youth liked it. And he says, in the chromatist world, like a lawyer can pretend to be they literally say a rapist could be a lawyer.
Could dress up like a lawyer. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, are we doing a like trans bathroom allegory before we even knew that was a thing? Like, are we talking about like trans people or I guess LGBTQ people?
Probably, but not in a positive way.
That's the thing is like, it was weird. This is where it got South Park.
I think that was intentional, but let's continue down this line of thought.
Oh yeah, because so we have this idea that his kids are into it. And
his one kid is into it. His hexagonal kid is into it because they had to have corrective surgery.
Right. And my thought was like, oh, okay, so it's a positive thing. Because when you start a movie,
it starts out seeming like it's going to be a positive thing. Yeah.
Right. Often the main character, if they're like, I don't like that thing, you're like, well, I bet they're going to change. That's how.
Particularly if it's
work.
the dad yelling at the kid for doing the thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is about being different.
Right. And it seemed like the movie when it does the 3D world and it like, it felt like.
The movie's not about that. The movie's not about being different.
That's the thing. So what this amounts to, as far as I remember, is this Snagglepuss character getting murdered.
It's Ed Wynn. He's the chromatist senator who is displayed as a jagged, undefinable shape, multicolored shape, who talks like this.
Yeah. It was listening.
It's Ed Wynn, basically, but yeah, Snagglepuss.
And it was like the part where they kill him, it was like listening to a snuff film of Snagglepuss.
It goes on for so
life.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really torture him to death. But when he gets up and interrupts the king's speech, what he says is like, the kingdom to the north doesn't, we want to make peace with them.
Yeah.
Like, he's saying all this, and like the other guy calls him an appeaser. Like, he's saying all of this like weak appeasement stuff about like rolling over to a powerful threatening force. It has nothing to do with any of the stuff about being different or about differentiating sides or anything like that.
It gets lost.
It gets lost because it's not about that.
It becomes like a metaphor for fascism.
Yes.
Of like, perhaps a left-leaning party ceding way too much power
exactly
to the people who just want to kill them.
See,
and so I was like,
this weak gay man has led us to our ruin, so let's torture him to death.
It's just funny because it's funny knowing he's a right-wing person. Who I was like, I felt like this was more about how the right-wing are fascists.
It started that way right until this scene.
Exactly.
Because like they have the chromatists be like these weird appeasement strategists, like these weird like fascist lapdogs for some reason. It was just such a whiplash to start the movie with like the kid being like, I want to change colors so I can show people that I'm different. Why does it matter that I'm a square? Why do we need to be able to see immediately like what shape is what? And like he had that whole speech to us about like, well, the almighty circle is what we can't like have people pretending to be a circle. So it's like, it's so clearly an allegory for like racism and class division and shit. But then it gets to this where it's like all the chromatists are the sellouts who have like weakened the nation, even though the king is objectively a maniac himself.
So
it's that like South Park shit of everybody is wrong. Everybody has a bad faith agenda. Like you can't. Yeah. It's not about. Yeah. It's everything is bad faith.
It's just very funny because it almost feels like he likes. I don't know if it is in the book, but it felt like he didn't realize that was the metaphor he was setting up.
Yeah.
Because this is always, of course, a thing with the right wing. Because he dumps it
immediately after this to go into like we're the Matrix thing.
Because there's this, I think one of the things, the right wing struggle with a lot is like when it comes to storytelling, you want an underdog. And it's like, well, who's an underdog? Well, an LGBTQ person, a minority. And he was setting up this like underdog struggle up until it's almost like he didn't know how to delete the script and start over to this scene where he was like, wait, no, they're a gay metaphor. I made the underdog because that's what they would be. And he's like, okay, they're bad.
We'll ignore the fact that it was a clear metaphor for LGBTQ people.
And then he just, like you said, he just goes, all right, anyway, let's not talk about that.
That wasn't what that was about at all. It was about this thing about like other dimensions of reality.
Yeah, why even put that in there?
Because you can't help telling on yourself when you make an hour and 40-minute piece of art all by yourself with no input from anyone else.
It's really funny because things like The Purge starts going out of control, and it's like, yeah, fascists, they eat each other. Like he's making good points about fascism with this little government plot that ultimately doesn't it sort of matters, but it just doesn't really
It doesn't matter at all because they're both sides are exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just one is multicolored and talks like Snagglepuss.
Right, and then it all just starts meandering, where it just becomes we're going to talk about
like he'll
3D land.
He'll do these fucking 10-minute scenes of the Sphere, who has a delightful like Rhys Darby-esque voice. But like it's either this guy or this guy with a voice changer, or I don't know how he's doing it. Maybe they like TaskRabbited some voice actors. I genuinely don't know how. Because I believe he made this entire thing by himself.
Yeah, and like nobody. Not all the voices are great.
Nobody has like an IMDb that I could find.
He apparently played a square in this.
He did.
Yeah, he's the main character.
If he's a square, then like 16 characters are voiced by him.
Simon G. Hammond is the guy who plays the orb.
Okay. That was the one that I would have said that one's probably an actor.
His only role.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Nice job, I guess. But anyway, he'll have these 10-minute scenes of the sphere and the cube, or the sphere and the square, just talking to each other, seeing like very obvious satirical wackiness in the 3D world. Like it's all very early South Park types of observations that they're making in terms of jokes. Like there'll be very, very long pauses. Like he'll be like, let the square touch you. And then like the cube will sit there and like kind of look around the room, but that beat will play out for way too many seconds before the scene continues. So there'll be like 10-minute scenes of that, of like dialogue that doesn't go anywhere, where it's just like they're kind of belaboring one point and telling jokes that are lame. And then it will get a title card that like rockets past huge chunks of plot. Like it'll be like, by the way, the 3D world is at war, the Northern Kingdom is invading, and here's a nuke.
Yeah. And
like all of a sudden we're in the middle of congressional hearings as a war is about to break out. It's like, couldn't we have spent maybe some of the time that we wasted in the car with the sphere and like in his office where he's just, I don't know. There's like a lot
there's a lot of, I like the
not
little
made
world
by a
building.
filmmaker.
Yeah, I liked when he has to learn like about gravity and perspective and his reflection and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's large scenes where they are just explaining something we understood in the first minute. Where it's like, yeah, I know how perspective works. I'm not a fucking baby.
And they'll stretch out jokes. Or like,
yes,
it's a lot of the same wheel kept spinning for several minutes within one scene.
Yeah, and
for us to just smash past huge chunks of plot that I also suspect would have been kind of difficult to animate.
Yeah, I think so too. Like they do a lot at the ending where there's like the bombing of the 3D world or something.
Yeah, and then like the sphere's car vows revenge.
Right. And it starts getting a little Don Hertzfeld, but like not as good as Don Hertzfeld.
Not in a good or interesting way.
Yeah, and it felt like they were stretching a bit.
The whole movie felt like stretching.
Yes. And that's what's the thing is that like the obvious thing to say is like, well, it's a short. But I honestly do think like I don't want them to remake this version because that would give this fucking creep money. But I honestly do think you could get a 90 minutes children film out of this starting premise, the original novella. And again, they've made a bunch of shorts. There was like one in the 60s made by some hippies or whatever.
Yeah, this seems like something they would do.
Yeah. And it's like, I honestly think you could make a Pixar film with like similar ideas as like, okay, we'll do like what you basically need to do is you're doing like a there and back again, where it's like you set up in the first half, this plot in the 2D world, his mind gets blown, and then he comes in the 3D world, they go on that adventure, and then it all kind of comes back together in the 2D world where the character is now changed, resolving the problem that was happening. You know what I mean? In that 2D world. So like we've done a lot of these, like your Labyrinths, your Page Masters, where it's like you set up a conflict with a character before they go into this magical world.
Yeah, and
then they come back changed and settle their conflicts.
And maybe settling into the South Park angle really bugged me.
Yes, again, a kids movie, not an edgy because they're shapes. But that again, it's sort of this thing of like, this is really good evidence of how bad this filmmaker is, because what I'm looking at is the broad strokes of this. I'm like, you could make a good movie out of this.
It's there.
It's a shame he did it. because he did a bad job. He did a very bad job. Everything takes too long. He focuses on the wrong things. The jokes, I don't think I wrote down a single joke where I was like, well, that's a good joke.
They're all bad.
They're all bad. Some of them
they're all like South Park fan fiction jokes.
Yeah, they're not even that edgy.
No,
so,
they're not even really meant to be. I'm saying South Park I meant more in the terms of it's like it's trying to embrace. It's like he's trying to. Flatland is a satire, but it seems of a very different sort. Like it seems like it was about, like you read about it, it's about theology, but it's also about Victorian class structure. Right. So like he's taking that, and those elements are very obviously still there because he sort of clumsily fondled his way through the what do they call them? The chromatists. The chromatists and the regular ists. But like he's trying to jam his own like quasi-libertarian everything sucks and anyone is stupid for caring satire into this, which is not what this was. It's not built to facilitate that. So this thing that's supposed to be about like asking God a question he can't answer, right? Like that's the idea, is you get to the next plane of existence and you get to meet God and you talk to God. Well, what's after this? He's like, well, what do you mean?
Right.
Like, no. What's after you? What made you? Oh, fuck. I never thought about that before.
Very ironically, it's a movie about seeing past dimensions and ego, ironically made by someone with a very narrow
with the inability to do either of those things.
This is a weird comparison, but I don't know if you watched Lady Ballers, Tom. The one that
I watched the Some More News.
Okay. Lady Ballers, interestingly enough, could have been this is maybe controversial. The premise could have been a good movie if handled differently. Meaning a group of guys who are like, let's dress up as ladies and we'll dominate these women at sports. You just have to be someone who understands filmmaking and narrative to do that. And the problem is their agenda goes against that. So, for example, if you did that premise, they should get their asses kicked by women athletes. But they had this weird political agenda, so they're like, they don't do that, right? They have a character
they need
who
to learn some
end,
kind of lesson about themselves.
They have exactly. They have a character who by the end thinks that he might be
right. I remember that.
Trans. And then it's like you could have that moment where a character who did this to dress up, like weird comparison, but Sorority Girls is a movie where a group of dudes dress up as girls, and by the end they're like, you know what, I learned something about being a woman. But they don't do it here, right? Like the character goes, I think I might be trans. The coach goes, no, you're not.
No,
he goes,
not.
oh, okay. And
Guess
then
I'm
it's
not.
done. And it's like you're
but it's I remembered
setting
from the
up
episode,
these arcs and then slapping them down.
Like it seemed like the rest of the movie was written toward that ending, though.
Exactly.
Like it was going to end with them accepting that. Because that's
what I
the
mean.
only way it can go.
Because that's how movies work. That's how stories work.
That's how human stories work.
Right.
We're sympathetic for this human.
That happens to, I think, a lot of agenda-based movies, right?
Yeah.
Like the other side of it is something like W or something where it's like you just feel bored because you're like, it's just
What is
someone
this?
ranting at you,
Yeah.
and there's no story, there's no arc, there's no change for the character, there's no surprise. Where it's like a movie like W, you start with like this shitty president, this guy failing through life. The natural story thing is for that person to be likable by the end, but it's just like, and they keep sucking. And you're like, great.
They tried to do something like he tries to frame it around George W. Bush was just a dude. He didn't want all this. He just wanted to be a guy who owned the Texas Rangers.
Right.
Which is fine. The problem is that's not at all true.
Right.
And that's not not really the movie you made.
Yeah, to his credit, it's Oliver Stone being like, well, we got to do something.
We got to do something. Sure. It's just, the movie just winds up, like you said, it feels like somebody ranting at you, which is.
Right. And that's what this is that like, it's funny because these things I identified not knowing this guy was who he was, where it's like, it felt like this like arcs that were happening that were just getting slapped down or like where you're like, this is rambling and weird. And it makes sense more now. knowing this guy is a maniac.
It got to a point where I had to look it up. That's why I was like, I need to know what's going on here.
Yeah,
because I smell a rat.
Yeah, because it's like this hippy dippy story made by a guy who's not that.
No,
it's like, don't make that story. That's why it's like it's
with this guy
movie.
that like dips lifesavers in gasoline to teach kids a lesson. Like that's like the kind of vibe that you get from the sort of satire here.
This is a children's movie that I would say needed to be made 20 years ago too. Like it's almost too late, but it's like hippy dippy. It's the
Starbellied Sneetches. It's a very basic. Well, and it's not even that, because like we said, that's not what this story is. Like it's not actually about the different. It could be because that's clearly all there, and that's I assume that's part of the classism satire that's in the original novella. I don't know because I've not read it, but yeah. So yeah. Anyway, like we said, like that's not really what the movie's focused on, but it could be. Like that could be an element of it. Yeah.
Right. Like for example, again, this is very basic. This would have to be a short. This is like Sneetches. You do the thing where the starting character is racist. He doesn't like the different shapes or something. He's like, well, circles are all bad. I'm a square. And then when he gets sucked into the 3D world, he looks down and goes, oh, we're all the same on the inside. Bam, you have an arc, right? Like you have your perspective has changed, and then he goes back down to the world and goes like, you know what? I was wrong, and all my racist friends, you guys can fuck off. Like it's something like where the chromatism, where it's like that's how you do that, or something like that. But it's just a fucking mess. Yep. It sort of just peters out the movie.
It just stops. Yeah. He does. He reminds us of 2001 at the end, which is always a good idea. You always want to remind your audience of a better movie.
Yep.
And then has the guy wake up being spoken to by a point of light, which I assume is meant to signify that he's transferred to another dimension.
Yeah, the
could have used a title card there, dipshit.
Yeah. Also, it's not that kind of movie. It's not like a weird.
No, why would
2001 thing?
It's like
it should be a character story. It's a kids movie. He's making a kids movie and doesn't realize it. Again, I can't stress that enough. It's like
I hate this guy.
Yeah. What are the light? There was the orbs of light throughout.
I have that written down. That's like it has nothing to do with anything. It comes out of nowhere. It's not connected to the story. He stops at a shop on the way to the story. It's not related to what's happening. Okay. And then he stops at the shop again on the way back to the story the next day to pick up another point of light.
Right. And I believe the fucking title card tells you to like pay attention to it. So I literally like went back and went like, wait, what? I guess I am dumb. What did I miss? And it was like, no, nothing. Did he forget to like finish that part?
I guess it's like what makes him have his dream.
Right. Is it like some wild symbolism that we didn't get, or like, because it does feel like there's some internal stuff that he didn't explain well at all on top of. Well, it's like, it's confusing.
There's two universal coincidences happening at the same time, right? It's that one, the story is dealing with the fact that we're finally nearing the 3,000 year cycle or whatever, when the 3D world is going to be able to communicate. It's going to converge with us once again. It only happens once every few thousand years, and they're able to merge with us and speak to us. So that's happening. Like that's the conflict that's going on with the king and with B Square and with the chromatists and the war and stuff. And then just also he finds these weird magical glowing points at a store that the shopkeep doesn't explain. They like mysteriously go out and just become little marks on the. It's like two magical stories introduced in the same. It would be like the kid. It would be like Bastion and Neverending Story picking up the Neverending Story on the way to school, and then also like picking up the Minecraft cube from Jason Momoa's store on the way to school. It's like he has both the Neverending Story and the Minecraft cube, and he's going to go on both adventures.
Right. So I just realized. Okay, realizing it's a religious thing. Yeah. It's the rapture at the end. He's been raptured. He's meeting God.
God's God. I assume it's the fourth dimension.
Yes, I assume that too. Yeah.
I was playing a little dumb because I don't want to give this filmmaker any credit, but yeah.
But I realize it's all biblical. It's the orb is essentially coming back to like find like, and they say as much as religious, but it's just very funny because the chromatus in that whole thing is like, oh yeah, they're over there, they're bad. That's it. That's all.
They're bad. Yep. That's all it is.
They're not going to the fourth dimension. Like that's pretty much it in that story. Mm-hmm. And that's fucking wild to me. And turning it again, the original was probably a bit biblical, but
like I said, the spirit of it, and again, I've not read it, but it seems like it's more about meeting God and asking God a question you can't answer. Like
right, and probably organized religion. This idea of like we have this very narrow view of God, and I assume that's what the book was about.
Why can't it be all of these things? It could, and it's probably even more than we can conceive. Yeah, exactly.
And you could make a very modern version of that.
Yeah.
And that's what's very funny is he did not know he was supposed to be making that.
He didn't know either thing. Like he was blind to both the theological aspect and the social aspect.
Yep. And what the point of the original was, like, if you took the author of this, and this is weird because I like I said, I haven't read it. I've just read about it. So I could be totally wrong, but it feels like if you took the author of the original 1800s one and had him see this one and had him live like it exists now, he would be more progressive. Does that make sense? Where it's like, this feels like he took a story that was supposed to be more progressive and he regressed it.
Oh, I have a feeling I have a feeling this guy would be a little bit more open-minded, at least about.
It's just funny because it's hard to scale that, but you know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
I think the story was intended to be more progressive than what this guy made.
Sure, regardless of the guy himself, the original author himself. Yeah, like the thrust of the story feels as though something, things change and develop over time, but it's like
it feels
right. It feels like this should be like this is very basic, like good stuff, right? Like it's like this is like you don't otherize, don't be closed off. Like it's a very basic message.
Right. It's like watching an old Star Trek where you're like, this is progressive for its time. Mm-hmm. If it was made today, it would be progressive for now. And it's like, they didn't quite see everything yet.
Right, yeah.
It's that feeling where it's like, I think he took something that was supposed to be very progressive about religion, and he did he didn't understand it. And so he's like, and then the rapture happens, and the gays are gone. And you're like, no, I don't think that was the point.
And I'm welcomed into
the kingdom of heaven,
into fucking Elysium, because I was right. I was the smartest. I was the most enlightened. That's what this movie is. It's congratulating himself for being right.
Yeah.
So it's like it seems like what he took away from what this person was trying to say is that it doesn't matter at any level of perception. We're all the same smush of angles and lines.
Yeah. It's the ultimate version. I feel like this is a 90-minute version of someone tweeting like, wait, Wager Against the Machine is woke? No, I thought that was about being against the left. It's that version. It's like the people who completely like fundamentally misunderstood like the Matrix.
Right. It's like hearing about a Scared Straight program and making a video of black rappers throwing cash at a stripper.
Exactly. Oh God. Yeah, it's a fart movie. It's on YouTube if you want to dare yourself to watch it.
It's a fart movie made by a stupid asshole.
Yeah, I think what's interesting though is I'm glad I watched it only because I didn't know this story. The original story existed.
Yeah, I'm sort of fascinated with the original novella, and like I said, like this guy's a stupid asshole. Some presentation ideas here are correct, and I would like to see this handled by actual responsible filmmakers and artists that I can believe in and support.
Yeah, I would definitely say like 80% of the good things in this movie were probably things that were just from the novella. Like, and I think like the extra stuff is like the 20% is like you figured out some basic plot structure that was a good way of doing it. So like it there's good things there, but it'd be
it
like
unfolds like a video game cutscene.
Yeah. And I think most people would watch this
story.
Yeah, if you didn't know Flatland, if you didn't know the book, you'd come out of this going like, some neat ideas there. Too bad it sucked.
Yeah, it's a weird little movie. Like you might be a little like, yeah, I kind of like I'll pull a little bit for that little movie that could. It's weird, clearly made by a weirdo, but it's got some fun ideas in there, and it had some profoundness in there, some profundity, and it turns out that all that profundity is over 150 years old.
Exactly. And there's only one actor in it who has a IMDb page that's functional, by the way.
Oh, good.
And his name was Thomas Christopher Colby. I know nothing about him. I wish him well. He seems to be doing a lot of small things. Maybe he's a monster. I don't know. I don't want to paint everybody, who's on this. It's a job. There's also a guy named Chris Carter who was in it, but it wasn't that Chris Carter.
I saw that. Does that person have an IMDb?
No.
Because I suspect, like I said, it sure sounded to me like a lot of the voices were the same voice, just doing voices at the same time as, doing little things to change the voice.
He's in a 2009 movie called Red Sands. That's his only. He has an IMDb page. It's just he only has the two things.
Oh, okay.
Written by Simon Barrett. Which
From
I do
Pink
believe.
Floyd?
No, that's he's the writer of The Guest in
Sid
VHS.
Barrett. That's what I'm thinking of is Sid Barrett.
Oh yeah. That's really funny because I'm like, what the hell is Red Sand? It looks like this Red Sands. It's like this 2009 shitty direct to DVD, but it's what he did basically coming up before he nailed it with You're Next.
All right.
It stars Shane West.
Oh, sure.
Who that is.
I think he was
Theo Rossi. He's in it.
I think Shane West was almost a person in the early aughts. Like, isn't he in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Maybe.
Isn't he Tom
Theo
Sawyer?
Rossi, though, he's a person, right?
Maybe Theo Rossi. Sounds familiar. Anyway.
Yeah, you know his face.
Anyway, that's
matter.
Flatland. I wouldn't recommend watching it.
No, I don't watch it.
Maybe find the novella.
Yeah, find the novella. Maybe watch some of the shorts. The Martin Sheen short I do want to watch.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm like, that sounds more interesting and better made. So
it's like 40 minutes?
No, not even 30.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. By the way, he's not credited for writing this. It's somebody else who wrote another thing called Hive Mind.
Which is also his movie.
You're right. So
both
yeah,
are available
it might
on
just
YouTube.
Be him. Yeah, I don't watch him.
Man, I kind of have to watch Hive Mind now, so I might do that and report back to y'all with my findings.
Please do. Until then, Burrito, thanks.
Thanks, I guess. No, genuinely, thank you. I had no idea that this novella, and the person who wrote it existed, and I'm sort of fascinated by this novella now, and I want to read it, and I want to read more about it and about this person.
To be clear, Burrito didn't even want us to watch this version. This wasn't a request where Burrito's like, watch Flatland. I love it. I love the director. I love everything he believes in. It wasn't that. It's part of a Shape series where Shape movies titles were arbitrarily.
They're doing a bit.
They're doing that. There's a chance they never watched Flatland before they had us watch it. Just absolving Burrito.
Oh yeah, no, of course. This is maybe we should have said that up front.
I think it was implied. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Listen, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have exclusive podcasts for $5 a month. You get access to Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, Himboos, our supernatural podcast. If you want to kick in a little more, you can watch movies with us every Friday night.
Do it.
There's also a tier, obviously, with custom We Just Watched episodes. There's lots of things on there. You should check it out.
We probably won't watch this on a Friday, but you never know. We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork by cool original artists like Michael Vincent Bramley, Starlene Hodge, Justin Brown, and others. So check that out. Please rate and review our podcasts wherever you're listening. And check out our new show, Badical, Badical, also wherever you are listening.
Yeah. We'd only watch this on a Friday night if we were like really mad with all of you.
God, this would be painful.
Yeah.
Like it's not, I mean, it's not just that like it has shitty politics or a shitty soul, which you might not even necessarily be able to detect because it was clumsily slapped onto a seemingly more altruistic concept.
It's a slog.
It's just a fucking slog. It's a boring ass movie that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
This person is bad and should feel bad for putting their badness into the world.
Yes. All right.
All right.
I think that's that's a good conclusion.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.